Pierce writes in and he says, during minute 45, this is of last week's show, you argue that the canon is closed. I agree with the standard Christian canon, but why are you so convinced of a closed canon? Are there, so that's the end of the question. There's a lot of directions that we could go with this. I'm going to let you start and see which direction you go.
Well, first of all, the leading scholarship in terms of conservative leading scholarship indicates that you had the canon of the Tanakh closed as early as the 3rd century BCE.
Right.
And you have clear evidence of that in terms of what people were saying, and even the fact that we have a very early reference to the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, which was the general way of describing the so-called Old Testament, or the Tanakh. Tanakh, of course, means Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim, which means the law, the Moses, the first 5 books, the Pentateuch, and then the prophets, and then the rest are grouped under writings. So, okay, you have a canon. What is a canon? A canon is like a yardstick, like a ruler. Okay? Now, that means that anything that is written after that is going to be received as scripture has to agree in general theology and even in specifics with what has already been written, because it's like if you're building something and you have a tape measure, and all of a sudden somebody comes along with a different tape measure that the inches are longer or something, you can't use that, because you're not going to be able to build the thing and build it correctly if it's already founded upon a different measurement. You understand my analogy? I mean, if you're going to build a box and you start out and build the bottom of it with the conventional inch and 12 inches to a foot and so forth and so on, and then someone comes along with a ruler that says, no, there's 14 inches to the foot. You can't use that and continue to build that same box. It's not going to work. So what I'm saying is that when you come to the apostles, they had to agree with what the Torah said. Now, the second thing is that you had eyewitnesses. And you're going to say, well, Paul wasn't an eyewitness of Yeshua. Okay. Yes, he was, but not as a believer. Okay. But he did know that Yeshua lived, and he was there. He was persecuting the followers of Yeshua. Okay. So, but you had eyewitnesses. And what were they eyewitnesses of? They were eyewitnesses of the fact that he was a man living amongst Israel, that he was proclaimed by many to be the Messiah. As a result, he was put upon an execution stake, and people saw this with their eyes. They were there. And then he was put into a tomb, and 3 days later, on the 3rd day, he rose again, and over 500 witnessed his living after he had been put in the tomb, and they wrote, and some of them wrote about it. Okay, so that means the eyewitnesses, that is, those who became apostles. Now, was Paul an apostle? Yes, he was. Did he have a high eyewitness of Yeshua? He was given a specific eyewitness, and he was received even by those who had previously been eyewitnesses. He was received and given the right hand of fellowship by those who were the very disciples of Yeshua, who walked with him and saw his miracles and heard his message and saw his life. Okay, saw his death and his resurrection. And so now they become the exemplar. They become the canon against which all others must be based. Okay, and you say, well, couldn't there be someone else now who also has that ability to write something additionally, and it fits with everything that's been written in the Apostolic Scriptures as well as in the Tanakh? No, the idea simply is this: that everyone who is one of the authors of the Apostolic Scriptures were either direct eyewitnesses of Yeshua, or were with those, lived with those, and heard their testimony face to face. Not something that someone transmitted, but face to face with those who had known Yeshua and walked with him, seen his death, and were witnesses of his resurrection.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button and check out more videos from Messiah Matters.